Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Christy Malloyd, and I am the Voter Services Chair for the League of Women Voters of Lafayette. The League is a nonpartisan and nonprofit organization. We do not endorse political parties, nor do we endorse any candidates. Since 1920, the League of Women Voters has worked to educate and inform voters. Our membership is open to all genders and for anyone over the age of 16. The Lafayette League encourages informed and active participation in our government, and our members work to increase understanding of public policy issues and to influence public policy through education and advocacy. For our forum this evening, I would like to do just a little bit of housekeeping first. If everybody could just take a quick check of your phones, and please make sure that those are on silent. That goes for candidates too, please. And me, just double check here. We are delighted to have candidates with us this evening running for City Councils 1 and 5, as well as Parish Council District 5. Talk just a little bit about the format that we will use this evening. All of the questions are going to be new to the candidates. They have not received these in advance. These questions are written by our league membership, and they're designed to give information that is relevant to our voters to help you make up your mind for who you want to vote for in this fall election. We'll be going by district number and alphabetical by last name, sort of starting closest to me, and then we'll work our way down the line, and we will rotate as we go along. Come on up. As we're going through, each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves. We'll give them 1 minute for closing remarks. In between the intro and the closing, we'll pose questions to each candidate in rotating order. We're going to keep all of our answers limited to 1 minute, and Miss Deborah Ami right here is going to be our timekeeper. She will keep you on track and hold up signs at 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and she'll give you a big timeout whenever you are done. And I will also help, if you go a little bit over time, help wrap up that line of questioning. All of the candidates are asked not to address one another directly. This is not a debate, it's a forum. I'm also happy to reread any questions as necessary. Now, without any further delay, let's begin by hearing from our candidates. We're going to begin alphabetically by last name with Parish Council District 5. And we're going to begin just here to my left. Mr. Clyde, if you will introduce yourselves, please.
Good evening.
It should be on, but please, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Clyde Gabriel. I am a native of Lafayette, Louisiana, born and raised, educated in the Catholic school system. Upon graduating from high school at Holy Rosary, I matriculated to Southern University, where I obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Political Science. A few years later, I went back to law school and obtained a JD. I've worked in several areas, including volunteers in this neighborhood, and I'm here running for Parish Council District 5.
Thank you so much. Next up, Mr. A.B. Rubin.
Thank you. My name is Abraham A.B. Rubin. I've been married 32 years, working at UPS for 35 years, very active in the community, many things, movies in the parks, adopted a school, the first day of school with the donuts for kids. They told me I had to stop it because of the fact there's too much sugar for the kids. We do Easter egg hunts. We do I do mentoring program. I work with a lot of different organizations to try to get things done. And I do that on purpose because of the fact we try to make sure that great leaders create other leaders. So that's why I work with other people in the community to make sure that we have leaders left over in our community. I like doing what I do. I've been doing it all my life. This is who I am, you know, so I'd like for y'all to vote for me. Name's A.B. Rubin, Parish Councilman, number 97, from the community, for the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And next up for Parish Council District 5, we have Mr. Kerry Jamal Williams.
Good evening. My name is Kerry Jamal Williams, right here in Lafayette. Live here a year, faithful member, faithful dedication to the community, a member of Trinity AM Church, where my pastor is Pastor Crispo. Love this community, dedicated this community, faithful to this community, dedicate and serve this community under the leadership and pastorships of many people here in this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we're going to move over to City Council for District 1, Mr. Elroy Broussard.
Good evening. My name is Elroy Broussard. I am married to the former Cheryl Hill for 50 years. Got 4 beautiful children, Raven, Elroy, Candace, and Ryan. I'm a lifelong resident of District 1, formerly District 3. I'm a pillar in the community. I have coached basketball, football, baseball for the last 30, 40 years. Many kids has come through my tutorship. Remember, I was president of Brown Park Youth Association, Northeast Youth Association. I worked tirelessly with the churches in the community. I'm involved with many different community events. And you have probably seen me in your community meetings, and I'm asking for your voting support in the next election.
Thank you much. Unfortunately, Mr. Ricky Hardy was unable to be here with us this evening, so our next candidate for City Council District 1 will be Mr. Christopher Harrison.
Well, first, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. I'm Chris Harrison, candidate for City Council District 1. Born and raised here in Lafayette, Louisiana, where I went to elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. What's going to define the city of Lafayette in the next couple of decades is not how we serve those who are well off, but how we improve the conditions of those who are far off. And one of the things that I've learned is that what truly prepares us for the challenges that we face ahead are the principles that we stand for today. And what I stand for is an accountable government, a government that makes smart investments, and a government that remains to be in touch with the people that elected them. I think if we do that, we're going to put ourselves in a position where we're one step to the right solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, also City Council District 1, Ms. Melissa Matthew Robichaud.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Matthew Robichaud, and I stand before you as a candidate District 1, City Council, representing the North Side. I am born, raised, and a lifelong resident of this very community. I do have a lot of little small businesses. Been running a family business for over 39 years. I've been preparing taxes at H&R Block in the very community for over 33 years. Outside of that, you'll find me probably cutting grass, cutting trees. I'm not afraid of hard work. And I also have a little venue called The Hall, where, again, I take care of the properties and really working very hard. It is with passion that I seek to set up to represent your voices in City Council and give back to the very community.
Thank you very much. And for City Council, running for District 5, we'll begin with Mr. Kenneth Boudreau.
Good evening. My name is Kenneth Boudreau. I'm a father of 3, a grandfather of 3, and a lifelong resident of Northside of Lafayette, graduate of Northside High School, as well as the University of Southwestern Louisiana. I served 12 successful years on the former Lafayette City Parish Council, ending in 2020, and I have since remained engaged with the entire Lafayette community. I've been active with service projects and organizations, and have taken on leadership roles when called upon to represent the interests of the marginalized and the forgotten. My focus has always been on areas of Lafayette which have the greatest needs, as well as on serving those individuals with the least amount of resources. In my time away from my council seat duties and responsibilities, I have observed the current and emerging political climate and decision-making from the perspective of a private citizen, landowner, business owner, and taxpayer. As in the sentiments of many here, we are unhappy. It's time for a change. We are unhappy with the direction the government has gone. Lafayette needs experienced, proven leadership. Kenneth Boudreau, number 124.
Thank you. And finally, for City Council District 5, Eureka Ross.
Good evening. Thank you all for attending this wonderful forum hosted by the Woman League. I would like to begin by stating I was born and raised here in Lafayette, homegrown from Macomb, and I am not a career politician at all. Not interested in being a career politician at all, whatsoever. That's not anything I care to aspire to be or remain stagnant. But what's also important to me is I was born here, rooted in service, and I served my country, active duty, military, and that's why I don't have any political aspirations. My only aspiration is for the future of Lafayette. I have all the interests to care about the future because I am a mother. That's it. And I care about accessibility. Nothing else to say.
Thank you so much. For our first question, we are going to begin with Mr. Rubin, and then we'll go down the line and come back and finish up with Mr. Clyde Gabriel. Our first question is on the topic of infrastructure and transportation. Improving infrastructure and transportation are vital for a thriving city. How do you plan to address our current infrastructure needs, everything from road repairs and potholes, but also things like thinking about transportation and other essential projects? What do you prioritize?
Okay, the city roads, but in the parish, what we are doing is trying to put monies into a program to where we have a lot of gravel roads that we're trying to turn into concrete. And as far as for transportation, it would be nice to get buses going further out. We got them going towards Carencro, but I like to see them going down towards Carmel, toward the area they call Coonville, because you got a lot of people walking in that area. I like to see the buses going down that way too. You know, this 1 minute is killing me, girl. You know what I'm saying? Got a lot of things you have to say, but you know, you try to cramp it into 1 minute. But basically, that's what I would say in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, same question to you.
That is a good question because the roads and the sidewalks is not getting fixed. And the city and the parish have the right to vote for new roads, but they don't. And transportation is really good because we do need transportation for not only for people that's traveling far away, but folks, the roads, if you walk and see our sidewalks, man, our sidewalks is horrible. It's really horrible, and they keep saying it over and over and over again. Well, we got this, fix this money for the sidewalks. Man, sidewalks ain't getting fixed. Ain't nothing getting fixed. I have people ask me all the time, man, Kerry, our sidewalks horrible. Yeah, I know it's horrible because it's not getting fixed. That's why you need a voice on your parish council board, and that's why I'm going to be the voice for District 5 to make sure that things are getting done in District 5.
Thank you very much. City Council, Mr. Elroy Broussard.
Thank you for the question. The north side of town, specifically in District 1, it's one of the oldest part of Lafayette that we have. The streets are small. They did not begin with the structure that's needed to make it solid. We got a lot of work to do to bring them back to quality standard. And as far as the infrastructure, we are doing some work off part of the Mouton Road that a lot of people don't know. And when we get that completed, specifically the Brown Park area, that's going to bring revenue if we do it right. We're partnering with some other companies to build some hotels and restaurants. In the, like Ruben, that 1 minute is killing us.
We got some long talkers here.
With the North University corridor and the overpass on I-49 that's being worked on now. We've got a lot of things in the work. And when we get it all together, we put it together, it's going to work.
Thank you very much. Mr. Harrison.
This is a great question. I think to begin, we could do a better job of public transportation, making sure that it's really expensive to have a car. In the city of Lafayette, you know, it's a city where you really have to drive a lot. And so we could make sure that we have better public transportation and make sure that we have more buses getting to where communities would need it most. In terms of public infrastructure, I think over the past couple of years, we haven't really done a good job of really fixing our streets. We've been fixing them with temporary solutions that's likely to make things worse in the future. So I think we need a better investment in how we pave roads, making sure that we have safer traffic laws, where that's light, green lights and whatnot, and cameras in neighborhoods that need them. But all of those good things, I think, will help bring better transportation here to the city, and also make sure we have traffic laws that keep everyone safe.
Thank you. Melissa, to you.
I definitely believe important to bring, good infrastructures, roads are really important to bring business to different locations, whether it's in District 1, whether it's in District 5. By collaborating with a lot of our residents, they can let us know what roads are in concern. I mean, there's a big areas all over. Not everybody tends to drive them. So a lot of collaboration with everyone, whether it's the residents and city government, city council. And again, I believe with the Brown Park, I mean, we have so many opportunities here that can bring to our district, not necessarily to every district, but to our district, but bring a lot of jobs and opportunities.
Thank you. Mr. Boudreau.
Yes, ma'am. As it relates to public infrastructure, there is a capital program that already exists for both the city and the parish as it relates to roads, drainage projects, etc. The biggest issue or the challenge we face is the revenue to do projects. In addition to that, we are very heavily dependent upon private developers coming in and doing things correctly in the beginning, where government does not actually build sidewalks. They're not into that type of a business. So it's about the incentivizing of businesses coming to areas that are underserved, where that infrastructure can, in fact, be put in when, in fact, those facilities are being built. On the lines of transportation, I would continue to support and increase the night hour services and after-hour bus utilization as our city transit, as well as expand upon our destination point transportation. That's how the Karen Crow route basically got created. When businesses are willing to locate and come, we get the employees and we get the consumers there. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ross?
Yes, thank you. We can have all the businesses we would like, but if it's not accessible to the residents in our district, it's not really important, because I feel like if we want to grow a city, we need to include those that lack reliable transportation. District 5, majority of the residents lack reliable transportation. And in the last 5 years, over 288 pedestrians have been struck in our city. So Moss Street, we have a lot of businesses there, but there is an accessibility issue. The sidewalks aren't wide enough, not adequately maintained. I've met residents while door knocking that have a mobility scooter or a walker or a wheelchair, and they can't even navigate Moss Street. So we have businesses there, but the residents can't access it. So if we want to grow, we need to include those with disabilities. I'm a firm believer in accessibility, because when I was paralyzed while serving my country, I lost my ability to walk. So that completely changed my perspective. So I would love accessibility.
Thank you. Last but not least, back to you, Mr. Gabriel.
This minute is wearing on my little quest. I have a litany of issues that have brought me here to this point today, where I am running for this office. Hundreds of people have approached me with issues. Number 3 on that list is infrastructure. I would approach that from a budgetary standpoint or perspective and make sure that, in particular, the infrastructure issues are dealt with on the north side of District 5. I don't have any problems with the widening of the roads on the south side and everything else that, the monies are being spent for in that area. My priority will be the north side.
Thank you very much. For our next question, we're going to begin with Mr. Kerry Jamal Williams. This one is on very broadly the topic of climate change and environmental sustainability. Here in South Louisiana, we are on the front lines of increasing and ever more severe storms of all different types and droughts, among other things. What could we be doing as part of our community, for our parish and for our city, to promote sustainability and really protect the natural resources of our community? Mr. Williams.
Well, that's a good question. First of all, we need to meet with every department, from the governor's office to the state level office, to make sure that we don't have these problems. Yeah, when it rains, it is horrible. When it rains, the roads get flooded, the sidewalks get flooded, everything gets flooded. My yard gets flooded. So that is a good question, and I'm going to work my best to work with local elected officials and state elected officials to see this problem won't happen in Lafayette.
Thank you. Mr. Broussard, question to you.
In this modern day era, it's difficult with the changes in the climate. We are living in a concrete city. Some years ago, when it would rain abundantly, the ground would absorb the water, or it would drain off somewhere. But now we're living in a concrete city, and our drainage are clogged up with trees that are rotten, and they're not being maintained in a proper way. So the question is good, but it's a question that takes a lot of study to make sure that the drainage is clean on a regular basis, because of the erosion we've got in the city, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Harrison.
This is a great question that, one that I'm pretty familiar with. I used to be a community organizer for a nonprofit environmental group. One of the things that we can to adapt to climate change is make sure that we develop housing that's sufficient given our flooding needs, right? So I think that we could develop more properties, more dense properties, in single-family residential areas that will enable more people to live together in smaller spaces that will be, sufficient for us whenever, we get flooding disaster. I think infill developments are the best sorts of developments that help us given our flooding situation. But I also think that we could bring in more businesses that are tailored to more environmentally friendly solutions in terms of car emissions, gas emissions, and all of those things. So I think it's about getting the right incentives for businesses to come to the city of Lafayette that's going to make climate change a priority.
Thank you very much. Ms. Matthew Robichaud.
Basically, not too familiar with a lot of it, but I do know that if we use maybe some of the multi-level, such as your apartment complexes that has your businesses at the bottom, multifaceted types of businesses, it could kind of help alleviate some of that. But the green spaces, we have our, by just making our streetscapes a little bit better, having bicycle and walking paths and parks, it'll kind of sustain some of the energy. And it should, we have to just look at policies and education on it and just make sure it's accessible to all residents.
Thank you very much. Mr. Boudreau, question to you.
Yes, thank you. How we develop, how smart we develop, how evenly we develop, and what we expect of our developers are going to be very critical. Everything from retention ponds, everything from being able to capture water and reuse, everything from how do we expect our single-family residential properties to be developed. All of that plays a part. That's all going to be controlled through the zoning and codes division. So we have to continue to review our codes and make sure that we user-friendly, we developer-friendly, but at the same time, we are in fact protecting the environment. That's what a legislative body does. We create the rules and the policies for people to follow. And then we have to make sure that we're prepared and able to stand up when we talk about environment emissions. That is why when I first got on the council in my first term, and the Greyhound bus station was attempting to develop right adjacent near a residential community where these buses that run off of diesel does not turn off when they're at bay. We have to be able to stand against bad development.
Thank you. Ms. Ross.
Stricter housing codes. I mean, some people might remember my video that went viral about a year or two ago with the D.R. Horton subdivision because of the material in which they were using to build the homes. And one of the issues they used was something called thermoply. It's basically the consistency of cardboard. And that issue in itself struck a chord with a lot of people because something called mold was growing because of that material. Some, kids literally became immunocompromised because of that material. Luckily, because of my video, Youngsville changed their housing code because of it. Now they're required to use OSB boarding. So what I'm saying is, if anyone cares about the future, it would be myself, because not just because I'm young, but because of my kids. I have for one, environment, climate change. This is a problem that the older generation, unfortunately, played a role in.
Thank you. Mr. Gabriel, back around to you.
First, I think we need to stop believing in the propagandistic rhetoric that's going on out there. We have scientists who have dedicated themselves to studying the climate. Global warming is real and in effect, whether we want to admit it or not. It's real. And the evidence is there. We just have people who choose not to believe it for whatever selfish reasons. We want to save our city, state, and country. We better wake up and start following the directives of the scientists who are trained to predict what is going to happen.
Thank you. And to you, Mr. Rubin.
Okay, when you're giving lemon, make lemonade. All right, we have global warming coming. So what we've been talking about trying to do, we've talked about putting a solar panel company out here. We get solar panels, we can utilize the sun. We have water barrels that the city provides where you can collect, whenever it does rain, you can collect water and you can water your flower, water your yards with the through the water barrel. There's also a process where we can start building farms that go straight up in the air. It's like I can't explain it right now. I can share it, but it's like a tall ladder, and you can grow a lot of plants going straight up instead of having to utilize the ground because the ground is so hard. I mean, anybody out here try to put a sign in the ground lately? You know what I'm saying? It takes forever. So therefore, that's one of the things that I say we can utilize the greenhouse effect like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For our next round of questions, we'll be posing different questions for our city council and parish council districts to represent some of the different things that both councils have to deal with. So first up, this will go to Mr. Elroy Broussard. For city council, one of the issues that is facing Lafayette, in particular the city, is the issue of affordable housing. What steps do you think, as a city council representative, that you would take to promote affordable housing, address things like reducing homelessness, and making sure that housing options are accessible to all residents?
When we use the term affordable housing, it sends a negative message to the community. It sends a very negative message. I don't like to use the term affordable housing. I like to use the term quality housing. We want to purchase a home that you want to live in for the duration of your house, for the 30 years, and have your children inherit the house. Quality housing is different from affordable housing, and we need to work on it. We need to work on sustainability from the home, not just a transit, to where whatever loan you are tied into in the end of 5 or 10 years, you double or triple the notes because you wanted to fall into something comfortable. And then you lose the house after 10 years, you start all over again. Quality housing is just as important. The term quality housing is more important than affordable housing.
Thank you. To Mr. Harrison.
Once again, great question. Right now, in the city of Lafayette, there's a rent-to-income ratio that's higher than Austin, Dallas, and Houston. And if we want to make sure that we have young people to stay here and keep talent within the city, then we have to do something about affordable housing. And one of the things I think we could do is update our development codes and making it easier for developers to develop infill development in the city. One of the biggest challenges that we're facing is minimum lot requirements. They're so big, they're so large. And so one of the things that we could do is make sure that we could have a space to create denser properties, have more people live in them, and open a way for us to have more affordable housing in the city. I want people to live more in the city of Lafayette so that we can grow from the inside out. So we need to address our development codes, our zoning codes, and make it easier for developers to develop infill development here in the city of Lafayette.
Thank you. Ms. Matthew Robichaud.
Well, I guess due to the rising cost of every aspect of building, it's kind of even hard to say, is there any affordable housing? I know there's some programs that we can maybe look at and collaborate with different people, but it's like your first time housing, like for down payment assistance. But by privatizing it, that's where it's going to probably be more for your mixed use rentals, to where you can provide some housing, affordable housing at the top, and having, again, the mixed use and the commercial at the bottom. We just need to collaborate with developers, even our nonprofits, and any of our, to make sure that our community has, to create valuable solutions.
Thank you. Mr. Boudreau, question to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. As it relates to affordable housing, one of the things that we have missed out on is inventory assessment or inventory valuation, meaning that we have a significant amount of adjudicated properties that can be redeveloped. We have a significant amount of vacant lots in already established neighborhoods that, in fact, can be redeveloped. So we need to be able to inventory those and have a true picture. As Mr. Broussard indicated, when you talk about affordable housing, we also have to be concerned about the impact on the overall market. We know that there is a significant use of low-income tax credits by developers and builders, and there has been a slew of them built in an isolated part of Lafayette, which has created other issues dealing with education, retail, establishment, the attraction of business development, and other things. So, again, it's going to be about inventory valuation, knowing exactly what we have, putting together a plan to grow from there.
Thank you. Ms. Ross.
It's unfortunate that this issue is coming up every election, and at some point we need to take a look at some of the issues that have failed and some things that are working. Some cities have did something called TAPA, Tenant Opportunity Protection Act, and it's really effective because what it does, it protects those that have stayed in a home for a long period of time. And so if you own a property, right, you can kick out the tenant, sell the property, and you don't care. You can just move on with your life. But what TAPA does, it requires the landowner to provide that long-term tenant an opportunity to buy that house first. And to me, that's very important because one of my close friends here was forced out of their apartment, and now the landlord renting it out for double the amount. There's no incentive to keep those long-term tenants here. So we need to have rent control measures as well, but TAPA is very effective, and I believe our local government should start looking into it so we can implement it here.
Thank you. For our parish council candidates, this question goes to you, starting with you, Mr. Gabriel. What is your position on building a new Northeast Regional Library? Are you in favor of doing so? And if so, do you favor acquiring the property for a new library or leasing it?
I am completely in favor of building the Northeast Library as opposed to the alternative. I am completely in favor of building the Northeast Library as opposed to the alternative that's being offered on the agenda today. I think we should purchase the property as opposed to leasing it so that we don't have to worry about any future problems with ownership of it. And it is definitely something that is needed on the north side of town. We do not need another incarceration facility. If we have the monies, let's get the library. The key to keeping kids out of trouble, first and foremost, is education.
Thank you. Mr. Rubin, question to you.
All right, I too am in favor of purchasing the property. I've been fighting for the last 4 years to try to make this thing happen. The only thing that has been detouring us from it is the library board. They seem to always try to stop us from doing it, which me personally, I'm trying to get rid of the person that's trying to do it, Mr. Robert Judge. I hate to say his name, but I have to. The library is very important. I think no lease. I don't even want to lease. Right now they're putting on the table, buy the property and lease another building. I'm not even in favor of that. We said we can have something right now. We've waited 4 years, 5 years, I think. It's been even more than that, if I'm not mistaken. And we've been waiting this long. We can wait another few years to be able to get our library and have something that we own, not that we have to give back.
Thank you much. And to you, Mr. Williams, same question.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have in my hand, I was here at the library meeting, and yes, the people that was on the board wants a library. They sure do. Right here in my hand. Notice right here, folks, it's the minutes from the library board. Yes. You do the resource. You do the time. Why we want to get rid of somebody that's not doing nobody wrong? I said it last night at the parish council meeting. For somebody that's doing nothing wrong, why we have to get rid of people? Why? Why, folks? Why we got to get rid of people? No.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. For our next question, it will be the same question for all candidates as it affects both relations with the City Council and the Parish Council, and we will be starting with you, Mr. Harrison. Do you support separating the mayor-president's office into separate city, mayor, and parish president, or are you in favor of keeping it as is with a single executive as the mayor-president? Why or why not?
I'll be in favor of splitting it, ensuring that the city of Lafayette has its own mayor. You know, we don't have the best budget-making process. And I'm glad that the city council has had more autonomy over their own budget over the last couple of years, recently, and the parish council has had its own budget recently, but the mayor still has control over both of them. And I think that, you know, it's a pretty interesting how the other unincorporated parts of the parish could elect our mayor. We can't elect theirs. And so I think that in addition to that, we need to figure out fairer ways to, we need to revisit the allocation schedule and make sure that we could find fairer ways to split the cost between the parish council budget and the city council budget. I think if we could do that first, we'll be in one step in the right direction.
Thank you. Ms. Matthew Robichaud.
I get my take on it is I'm not very unfamiliar with, you know, the ideas behind it, but I guess the cost effectiveness, if we have are we doing taxes, are we splitting the taxes, or I know the parish pays in the city. To me, if we can somehow do some kind of policies and work with both boards, the city and the parish, and have just the one, you would think it would be a little bit more cost effective. But it has to be a collaboration and looking at all the policies that are in effect and trying to see if it is more cost effective and fairer to each of the districts in the community.
Thank you very much. Mr. Boudreaux, to you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely separate the office of the mayor-president. The city of Lafayette needs its own mayor. The reason for that, it needs to have its own control and its own autonomy. That blueprint was actually left immediately following the split of the councils, as we were successful in doing. I will say that the studies reflected the parish does not actually need a parish president. The parish, based on its budgetary size and the needs of what we control in the unincorporated portions of the parish, actually only needs a parish manager, which will in fact be cost effective as opposed to a parish president. So the answer is yes, separated soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
I also support separating because, for one, if you look at the numbers, essentially, if you live in the city of Lafayette, you only can vote for your mayor. But if you look at the numbers, the mayor can technically ignore the residents of Lafayette because the parish, the population, and so forth. So if you're watching this, regardless of what you may hear, it is election season, but it's very important that we separate the two. And if you look at the money, for one, so there are certain things that is not happening within our district because some of our taxpayer funds are being allocated outside of the city of Lafayette. So when you look at it from a financial standpoint, we need our own mayor. If you look at it from, voting turnout, the mayor of Lafayette can literally ignore the north side and still get voted again and again and again.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gabriel, question to you. To you, sir. Yep.
Same question?
Same question, yes, sir. I can hear you, but
I'm sorry. I am definitely in favor of separating the mayor president from the parish. The citizens in the city of Lafayette have a tax burden that they're paying 80%, while the parish residents are paying 20% for services that go to both. I don't think it's fair. It's tantamount to taxation without representation. The mayor has, and I just read up on this today, a veto power that he uses strategically in terms of just getting the ability to spend expenditures. He uses that money in any way he wants without regard to what the city council wants. So I definitely favor separating the two.
Thank you. Mr. Rubin.
I, too, am in favor of separating the mayor-president position. The problem is there's too much power, okay? We need someone to take care of the city. Someone needs to take care of the parish, okay? The problem is when we split the charter, we didn't do it completely in the proper way, and we rushed through it to try to make something happen, trying to make something positive happen, but it wound up to where we didn't do it the proper way. We needed to separate, like we do the budget. I can tell you what to spend your money on. From the parish side, I can you talking about veto? We can veto the city budget. If the city want to spend $1 million on me, I can tell them no, but I would tell them yeah. But anyway, that's the problem that we're having with the mayor-president spot being in one. You know what I'm saying? And as far as for equipment, we would have to figure out how to separate who's going to take care of the parish, who's going to take care of the city. Okay, these are some of the things that we overlooked when we rushed through to try to split the charter.
Thank you much. Mr. Williams, question to you.
Absolutely. I support that. Absolutely. Why? Because too much is going on in the parish with the mayor, and the parish council is controlled by the mayor. They are buddies, and yes, we need to separate them. Yes, yes, yes. I do support it.
Thank you. Mr. Broussard, same question to you.
Yes, I do support separating the mayor and the mayor president. The mayor president has the surrounding municipalities that's supporting him wholeheartedly, giving him the power to do what he see fit or she see fit, whatever the case may be. And Lafayette, the city of Lafayette is being left out. I'm like most people, paying the parish taxes and the city taxes, and the rest of the municipalities are just paying the parish taxes. And my money is being used for their good, but their money is not being used for my good. So I'm wholeheartedly supportive of splitting it.
Thank you very much. For our next question, we are going to begin with Ms. Matthew Robichaud. And this question is about community police relations. Enhancing public safety is critical for the health of our city. What would you do as a council member to promote community engagement and collaboration between citizens and law enforcement to ensure both a safe and inclusive environment for all Lafayette residents.
More so, a lot of programs. I'm thinking we need to offer as many programs as we can get these children to do. First, to get a trust between both the children and the police. Programs that police do with kids, school age, maybe starting lower in the ages of schools to where they're kind of learning instead of being afraid or being or not having the trust among themselves. I think we just need to, as long as we keep education, I think body cams are good. It kind of protects both the police as well as the kids and the children involved. Starts with our parents. We just need to have a better understanding of kids. And I mean, they are our future. We need to invest, educate, give them job skills, do whatever we can so that we can deter some of the crime.
Thank you. Mr. Boudreau, question to you.
The first thing is I would encourage the mayor president to make sure we hire the best, most competent, qualified, effective chief of police that we could find. Then we would talk about accountability, as we have attempted to do on many, many occasions. When you talk about police relations, a lot of it simply has to do with trust. The trust that is lacked is because when something is wrong, nothing gets corrected. Nothing gets done about it. Part of that is because of the civil service system that is in fact in place. But we could do things internally through a chief, through a proper administration that can hold people accountable, and where the community will feel that their voices are being heard when police actions are inappropriate. We need to put out a true community policing model, not just necessarily dependent on walks and knocking on doors, but actually true engagement, partnering with agencies and organizations that are already in the community doing things and have a true and real community outreach component of the Lafayette Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ross.
I would like to start by stating the history. We can't look at the police department without looking at the history of the police department. And when I say history, I mean way back, the whole purpose of police in itself. And then you have to look at how that has changed over the decades. But if I want to be completely honest with you, there's no amount of training that could truly change certain individuals within our police department. So if I had my way, I wish every individual police officer that's patrolling our community should be interviewed by some leaders within our community so we can decide if we want them to police our community. If I had my way, because certain individuals I have encountered myself have a sense of arrogancy about them, and I don't want them patrolling my community. So, and then mental health is very important. We need to talk about adverse childhood experiences and mental health in our community.
Thank you. Same question to you, Mr. Gabriel.
Community policing, working on developing a better relationship between the police and the communities that they are sworn to serve and protect. We have to attack this from at least a two-prong area, please, because here's the thing. It's okay for us to blame the police, and there are some times when they are at fault, but we definitely have to focus on our community and what role we play in that. So if we're going to have community policing, we have to come from both angles and make sure everybody plays their fair role.
Thank you. Mr. Rubin.
All right. Personally, I don't think we're policing our community the proper way. I think what we need to do is get our policemen to get out them cars, stop riding around in the AC, looking at you. They see you smoking a joint on the side of the road, they want to go bust you. Man, leave that alone. Go talk to them young men, give them your card, say, hey, look, here, my name is so-and-so. You need some help? Give me a call, okay? If you know your people in your community, policing your community the proper way, people like Trayford Pellerin would still be alive, because you got people like Guy Williams, Paul Green, them back in the day. If they caught you doing something, hey, come here. Hey, I know you. I'm going to go call your mama. If they would have whirled up on Trayford Pellerin the proper way, somebody that's policing that community, know it's a drug-infested area, they see Trayford, they say, hey, Trayford, come here. Well, put that knife down before I throat punch you, boy. You know what I'm saying? Because he's in that community, he's able to police the community, and he's not afraid to talk to the young man on his level because he's gotten down and talked to that young man on his level. I think that's what we need in our community about police. I'm sorry, this is a passionate thing for me with that one.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, same question to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to give a point to Miss Ross, because look back, folks, a 2-year-old child was murdered by the police, and actually nobody done anything. Miss Ross put a great balloon release together for the community, and my pastor was right at that balloon release and did a great job. Police, ladies and gentlemen, we had a good chief of police. We had a wonderful chief of police, but your mayor let him go. We had another great chief of police, but your mayor let him go and point who he wanted to be as your chief of police. Ladies and gentlemen, it's ridiculous because the community cannot voice their opinion on who they want as their chief of police. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Broussard.
It is important to hire a chief of police who is tied to the community. I have advocated the last several years to try to go into the community and recruit police officers from the community. If you've ever been approached by a police officer that you don't know or they don't know you, it's scary. It is scary. I have been approached by police quite a few times. And do I want to be the bullet of the wood and attack him, or do I want him to attack me? We don't know one another, and he want to go home to his family just like everybody else. But our police officers are not police friendly. They ride around, like Mr. Rubin said, with their window up, don't even wave at people. Most of them is not from here. They're not familiar with the community. We need to try, and we're trying it in the schools. We're recruiting in the schools to get young police officers to join the force, and we hope that works out.
Thank you. Mr. Harrison.
This is a very sensitive issue, and it's a really important one. The truth is it's going to require a holistic approach. You know, one of the biggest things I think our police department could work on is responding to those in mental distress in a better way. So we need to figure out better ways to train police officers to be able to handle a situation when they encounter somebody in a mentally distressing situation as well. One of the most important things we could also do is figure out how we could develop community violent intervention efforts. And I think issues like that is going to, you know, help build that gap between the community and the police. It requires mentoring. It requires any effort that's going to restore trust. It requires an ability to hold police officers accountable when they do something wrong. But one of the obstacles that we face is the Civil Service Board can sometimes rule in their favor. And so we need to figure out one of the best ways we can to get members of the community on those civil service boards so that we could effectively hold police officers accountable when they do something that they're not supposed to do.
Thank you very much. We have reached the point in the forum when candidates will each have the opportunity to make a brief closing statement. Each candidate will have 1 minute, and we're going to continue in the order that we've been going. So first up with closing words to Mr. Kenneth Boudreau.
Thank you, and thank you to the League of Women Voters. To the community, we are at a very critical time in the city of Lafayette, the parish of Lafayette, and North Lafayette in particular. We need knowledgeable, committed, successful leadership like never before. Our families and businesses deserve it, and they will receive better. I bring the battle-tested requisite skills, begin serving immediately on your behalf to include but not limited to 3 terms as chairman of the council and 7 terms of overseeing the budget process and seats of senior leadership on the finance committee. These posts have placed me in a strategic posture for securing projects, improvement in funding for initiatives such as the LUS Payment Processing Center, which is now the only one in the city of Lafayette on Mall Street, the Lafayette Police Department's Precinct 4, 4 on Marsh Street, the Michael Middlebrook Police Training Center on Marsh Street, and $8 million appropriated for a Northeast Library, along with $3 million left for Hyman Park redevelopment, just to name a few. After reviewing the recent internal audit, we need fiscal responsibility like never before. That is what I bring. Bring Boudreaux back. Successful, proven professional leadership, number 124.
Thank you so much. Ms. Ross, to you.
Thank you. One thing I would like to state is it was a pleasure being here tonight with all of you, but I am not a career politician. I don't aspire to be a career politician, but what I do care about is the community first and foremost. And what I do bring is fresh perspective, new ideas, as well as a new voice to the table, one that prioritizes inclusivity, economic growth, innovation, to various challenges that we have faced. And I firmly believe that working together, regardless if you are an elected position or not, we all should come together all the time, once again, for every issue impacting our community. And this is not about the seat. And I want to make that very clear. Me running for office, it's all about getting the young people engaged. That was my main reasoning. And for those watching, when I decided to run for city council, I had no clue Kenneth Boudreaux was running. By any means, I didn't. I actually had no clue. But I made sure to stay on my course because at the end of the day, what God has in store for me is for me. So I'm only following my heart and I'm learning. It's a journey and I want to make the best journey for the city and keep growing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gabriel, to you.
Good evening. I am here tonight because I made a decision after consultation with my higher power. I was approached by hundreds of people, and basically, in general, they all said that they needed a voice to articulate their concerns. I want to be that voice. I want to be the one to speak on your behalf, on your needs, and what it is that you desire from the city government of Lafayette. Clyde Gabriel, number 96, City Parish Council. I'm sorry, Parish Council.
Thank you. Mr. Rubin.
Thank you. I am the incumbent parish councilman for District 5. I'm experienced. I've done many things. Took care of drainage problems within Derby Heights, within Briarwood. I've done a lot of things within this community, some positive, some bad. As I said, I will make mistakes. Don't judge me on the mistakes that I've made. Judge me on how I bounce back from those mistakes. I plan on bringing my experience back to the office to continue doing the things that I've been doing, you know, not only within legislative, but also in the community, helping out the other people in the community, working with our nonprofits to make our community better because our children are our future, and we have to reach out there and give them some hope, show them some love. And from this position here, that's what I plan on doing. Whether I'm in this position or somewhere else, even when I term out in 12 years, I plan on letting you see me out here doing the things that I do. A.B. Rubin, from the community, for the community, number 97 on the ballot, but number 1 in your heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the people, you have heard over and over that he said he's from the community. It doesn't matter. I said it Thursday, and I'll say it again. You win, you praise God. You lose, you praise God. But guess what? I am.
My apologies.
It doesn't matter if I win, and it doesn't matter to win. But in 2027, I will run again. On Saturday, October 14th, number 98 on your ballot. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Broussard, to you.
Thank you. Let me say thank you for the League of Women Voters for giving us the opportunity to, I guess, put some of the things out there that we believe in. And thank the audience for being here. 9 years ago, you elected me to be your school board representative. I made promises to you that I kept. You check my push cards. Everything I promised you 9 years ago, I kept. I'm going to make the same promise to you as your city council representative. Been working in the community all of my adult life. I've got no challenges now not to do my very best. There's a lot of things that we need to achieve. I'm familiar with the community. I walk it on a regular basis. It's just home to me. And if you, number 116 on the ballot on October 14th, I swear to you and promise you I'll do a good job.
Thank you. Mr. Harrison.
Once again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this excellent forum. I'm Chris Harrison, candidate for City Council District 1. I'm a graduate of Lafayette High School, a graduate of the University of Louisiana, Lafayette. I'm an unconventional candidate, but these are unconventional times. One of the most important things that we could understand about the times that we're living in today is because this election is the future of Lafayette. And what that means is that what I bring to the table is a steadfast commitment to the truth, a redirection of focus to what's most important, and vision and vitality to a city that has struggled to find its sense of identity. One of the most important things that we need to recognize is that at the intersection, of common struggles and practical solutions is a city we could all be proud of, and that is worth fighting for, and that is why I'm running. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening to all of us. 118.
Thank you. And to you, Ms. Matthew Robichaud.
First, I really believe in people, our small businesses, and public trust. Invite me to your home, call me, email. I want to get to know different perspectives so I can represent your voice. They need to be heard and respected. And I want to work for a common ground. People change usually for 3 reasons. You've either suffered enough, you learned enough, or you're tired of the same thing. Let me be that change. We need to accept the responsibility of our future. And I can't do it alone, and I humbly ask for your support, your trust, and your vote on October 14th, number 119, Melissa.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for our audience this evening. We hope that you feel like you can make a more informed decision. Please. Just a few reminders. We do have early voting this year starting on September 30th, and that will continue through October 7th. And we now have 3 options for early voting. We've got the downtown Parish Government Building, we have the East Regional Library, and of course the Martin Luther King Jr. Rec Center. Election Day is on October 14th on Saturday. We are happy to help you here with your voter registration, and you can also update that, do change of address, make sure you are an active voter on the Go Vote app. We have some information back that we can help you with if you're interested in that. We also are very thankful for our candidates who participated in our Vote 411 voter guide. You can check that out online, vote411.org, where you can easily compare all of the candidates in our local races. We definitely want to thank all of our partners for helping make this forum possible, especially for the main library for hosting this, AOC Media for helping with the filming and the live streaming, for our timekeeper, Deborah, for keeping everybody assiduously on track this evening, but most especially for all of the candidates. Thank you so much for your time and for your participation. Help me give them a big round of applause. These guys, I'm sure, will hang around and will be happy to answer questions for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.